Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis, and today I'm very grateful to be joined by Haylee Harrison. You guys remember Haylee from about a month ago. She was on my women's roundtable. Took us a month to actually get this chat organised. We've both been pretty busy with stuff. I'm preparing to move up to the sunny coast where Haylee is in the next couple of weeks, so I've been pretty busy with my stuff going on in the background, and Haylee's been busy with her stuff, so it's good we can finally connect today and have a chat about her journey and her story. It's a pretty powerful story. It's going to inspire a lot of young women out there that have been through or are going through what she's been through to help them understand that there is an other side to this and there is a way out of their sticky situation, we'll call it. Haylee's pretty cool. We've been talking for the last probably hour, so about a whole range of different things that we might share one day. So Haylee, welcome to my show today. Firstly, how you going? And looking forward to hearing your story today. There's some parts that you haven't told me, so I'm going to be like everyone else, sitting on the edge of my seat, waiting to hear what comes out of your mouth today, Haylee. So you can take the floor now, and welcome to my show.
Thanks for having me on, Nate. It's good to be here. I'm going well today. The sun's shining finally. It's been pretty overcast here the last few days, and lots of rain at night, so that's not been great. But yeah, just looking forward to having a chat and sharing my story and hopefully empowering some young women and young adults to basically live true to themselves and get themselves out of not such good situations. So yeah.
So we might as well start at the start. Haylee, you were a nurse during the whole we'll call it of the last 3 years. You're a nurse during some of that stuff, so you would have, I separate the journeys, as you know, into like you awaken to the truths of the world and you awaken to the truths that exist within you. So we'll start with what you awoke to in terms of the truth of the world. I'm guessing you awoke to the truths of the world inside the medical system. Do you want to share your experience from that? I know a lot of people in the system right now may have some knowings. It'd be nice to have someone that's already been in there to maybe connect a few dots for them.
Cool. So I after I finished high school, decided wanted to help people, and I lost my grandma at a very young age. And I wanted to help people, especially in the cancer industry, because that's what I lost my grandma to. So yeah, after high school, I went into studying nursing, and then eventually went on to look after people in the field. So I did that for almost 10 years. And during that time, saw a lot of obviously sad situations where working in the cancer nursing industry, saw a lot of young people, a lot of old people obviously as well, just in really poor health. Saw a lot of people, the end of a lot of people's lives, and just being in the industry, seeing the pharmaceutical side of things. I saw, a lot of elderly people on, a handful of medications, and the stuff that they were feeding people in the hospitals was not ideal, obviously, for people to heal well. And just being in the industry kind of like pushed me to go within myself and look after my own health, because I believe more in prevention than cure. And I think I've always been that way, but it took me being part of the system to realize that. So yeah, I just went on my own little health journey, and I started to eat really healthy and, go to the gym and, be cautious of what I was actually eating and putting into my body, because that's like the most important thing is taking care of yourself. And yeah, just while I was in the industry, just seeing, like negligence in terms of, not asking why we were giving out so many medications, and, like why this or that's happening, and why we weren't encouraging people to go down like a natural health path. It was more just like, here's your medications, here's your, hospital food and, we'll see you again in another month, or, whatever, here's your radiation, that sort of thing. So yeah, just being in there, going on my own health journey, and I was able to I just did not agree with it at all, and it didn't sit right with my soul. And while I was nursing, I would encourage my patients to go and do their own research, and to look at other paths for their health, like to improving their health, and going down the pharmaceutical route. So just that was basically my experience, and for a long time I just didn't agree with it. And I knew in my soul, like for a long time, it was just screaming out like, this is not for you anymore, and it doesn't resonate with you. So in a way, the pandemic was quite a blessing in disguise for me, because I was able to finally step away. And it took, for me, I was away when it first broke out. I was down in Victoria with my family, and I just was like, something doesn't add up here. Like there's something else going on. I just, again, with my soul, it was like not agreeing with the situation. And I got back to Queensland, and I actually called up my agency, because I, being who I am, I did want to help people. And, I was also wondering what was actually going on. So I rang up my agency and I said, oh, I'm ready. Like, I'm back in Queensland. I'd like to go back to work. And is there any work for me? And they just said, oh, we don't have any work at the moment. Like, it's really quiet. So for me, I was like, this is weird, because if we're in the middle of this pandemic and, all these people are dropping dead on the street, and, we're in this big crisis, like surely there's some work for me somewhere. Like, if the hospital's apparently overwhelmed, like there's got to be something. So that kind of like put me on the path of trying to figure out what was actually happening, because obviously what, people were being shown on, what we were all being shown on the TV was clearly not the case. So then, just like joining other groups where nurses were asking the same sort of questions, or they were out of work, and just seeing it happen, like worldwide. Started seeing other nurses speaking out, or questioning things, and just kind of realized what was actually happening. And I hung up my stethoscope and I never went back. So I've actually, it's just been a really great last few years of not being a part of that system anymore. So
That's a pretty awesome story. Not many people have obviously, like, people can see what's going on in there. Like, they don't really act on anything. They just keep taking their paycheck and doing their thing, being tied to this matrix system. So good on you for seeing and understanding and feeling into it, like with your soul and stuff, and your intuition. Obviously, mine was quite the same during the COVID stuff too. My intuition clicked on and didn't agree with some of the stuff either. So that's awesome. Just in terms of like, so what do you? I was going to ask you. Oh yeah, so obviously, I was grateful for the whole period too. I was able to go within and learn my truths as well. I'm guessing you had a similar experience in the last few years. Have you gone within and understood what's, I guess, held you back from doing something like this? And your little, or not little, your big in a journey. How was that for you after your truths?
So it was just like trusting myself. And it wasn't easy, because like after I figured out what was going on, I felt like I had, and like I was obliged to start speaking out. And it's weird, because like, as when you're in the health system, or like as a nurse, or a medical practitioner, you're taught that you have a duty of care. So I felt like I had a duty of care to speak out on what I was seeing, and try to help those around me not to make bad decisions in terms of accepting what they were offering, if you get what I mean. And it was like just trying to encourage people not to live in fear, because obviously what they were putting on the TV was not what was actually happening. It was just they were trying to make everyone live in fear. So yeah, I started speaking out pretty much straight away. And I had a lot of, old nursing colleagues that were looking down on me and, calling me a crazy tin foil hatter and things like that. And they actually were saying things like, oh, if you think it's a scam, why don't you come and help carry body bags out of the hospital, and why don't you volunteer? And which was weird because like when you look back at the statistics and you look over how many people died per year in Australia, like it wasn't even changing. So I was just curious to know where these, extra bodies were that they were talking about, because yeah, it's only recently now that a certain product was implemented that the statistics are going up. So it's quite interesting. And yeah, I just stood strong in my truth, and I knew what I was seeing was, not what they were seeing. Like they just, because they're in it, they can't see what was happening. Going within, and even after I started speaking out, obviously I lost a lot of, close friends and, wouldn't say close family members because I still have all those, but like distant family kind of stopped talking to me as well. And yeah, it's just like they couldn't see what was happening, and, they were happy to live in fear, and, they haven't done work on themselves. So, they can't see these things. And the work on myself and, like trusting my own self and not caring what people think. And just carried on trying to open people's eyes basically and help them not to make stupid decisions. Stood like strong in my truth. And I've made peace with the fact that those people weren't supposed to be in my life. And if they've walked away from me for trying to open their eyes, and they're not supposed to come with me and to like on this journey any further. So yeah, just it's been a really good process, like a really great process for me, is like learning all these things during this time. So even though it has been challenging in ways, it's been very rewarding. Made a lot of new connections, obviously with yourself as well. And I feel like it all happened for a reason, and it's helped to clear out the wrong people from my life, but it's also brought in the right people. So yeah, I don't regret anything, and I'm happy to be on this journey. So
it's awesome. That's very powerful because it's very similar to mine, as my listeners will know. I talk a lot about shedding the old to bring in the new, and with this journey, if you're listening and you've just started to embark on yours, it's like, be prepared to lose some of your, I guess, beliefs on the world, beliefs with yourself, and obviously some people and places that no longer serve you.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part of the process, is like, I know for me, some of my long time childhood friends, it's like, well, we just went different ways. Like my perception of the world was different to your perception. And I went over here to start my journey on self-discovery, and it sounds like you've done a similar thing. But if anyone out there is young and is starting their journey, what would be your advice to those young women or young boys that, you may lose some of your closest friends? Like, what would be your advice? Like, how was that experience for you too? Like losing friends and family over some of the stuff. Like, what would be your advice to those people?
So my biggest takeaway from it is like not to take it personally, is everyone's on their own journey, and they're at their own stages of healing and waking up. And at this point, these people that can't see it might not, they will either go two different ways. They'll either wake up on their own and see it and then join you on your new side, or they'll never see it, and then you just have to make peace with the fact that they were moved out of your way for a reason. At first there was it's kind of a shock when it does happen, because you're like, oh my God, I've got so much history with this person, and we've been through this and that. And I think that's a big thing, is that we tie so much attachment to things.
Yes.
And we put so much meaning into like friendships and relationships are so important, and family and friends are very important. But when you're trying when you've got so much attachment to it, it's hard to you find it hard to let things go, even if like that thing's not doing serving you any good in your life, but you're like tying meaning to it, so then you're finding it hard to let it go. And like even if that could be somebody who's not treating you, so finding it hard to let go. So that was a learning curve, is even though it was like either lifelong friends or people that I was so like doing everything with, and they just kind of were moved out of my way because they weren't ready to come with me. And I just had to make peace with that, because I'm happy on my journey. I know my truth. And in life, they don't want to. So, I just had to make peace with that. And when you know yourself and your self-worth and you're happy with yourself, that doesn't really bother you anymore, because you know yourself and you're true to yourself. So
that's powerful. That's a really good piece of advice for anyone listening out there that's sort of starting their journey. I was just going to ask you, so what sort of inner work have you been doing in terms of your own stuff to help, I guess, like there might be some young people listening. So with the inner work, what have you been doing? What have you found has worked for you, and what have you found that hasn't, I guess, worked for you either in terms of inner work? You found meditation, yoga. You found maybe going for a walk in nature or something, like journaling even. Like, what are some tools, I guess, that have helped you on your journey with the inner stuff?
Meditation's a massive one for me. I do spend a lot of time alone, and it's been one of the biggest game changers for me, because if you don't spend time alone, you don't get to know yourself, then you're going to have issues, because you're going to be depending on everyone. And it's just like so healing to spend time with yourself, getting to know yourself. So I'm lucky enough to live right near the beach. So I usually get up every day and watch the sunrise.
Oh, don't worry. I see that every day. Jealous. Super jealous. For those that don't know, I'm in Victoria right now. Fucking freezing cold. And every day I'm on Instagram checking my just checking some stories, and I always see Haylee's sunrises. And I've sent her a couple of messages where I've gone, it's like -1 here, and you're sending that crap out on social media. I'm like, I'm super close now to being up there with you. It'd be cool.
So I definitely recommend or encourage you all to, if you live somewhere where you can watch a sunrise or a sunset,
powerful.
Definitely starting my day out with that. It's so important to get sunlight every day, even though mainstream says that the sun's going to kill us and everything. It's not true. I see it as the things.
I see it as the things they're saying and the things they're doing.
Opposite. You have to always do the opposite of what they say to remain healthy.
Yeah.
Starting my day with a sunrise and grounding on the beach. And I have a dog which has really, changed my life as well. He's my little best friend. And we get up, go down to the beach, watch the sunrise, and just ground on the beach. And it's honestly, watching the sunrise has become like a big part of my day. And I feel like if you get up and do that every morning, or even if you start doing it like every second day or whatever, it's changed my life so much, because you're starting the day on a good note. Like, I don't know anybody who could sit and watch a sunrise and be sad or disappointed or like depressed
on their phone.
Well, I mean, I record my sunrises, to share and make everybody jealous. But
you make me jealous. We've discussed that.
Like it takes away like it's just you and the sunrise, and the rest of the world's probably sleeping, and like it's just I can't even explain it. Like it's just such a
healthy habit
sitting there, and that you're starting your day on a good note and a positive note, as well as how beautiful they are. Is like you're watching something magnificent happen before your eyes. And I like to call it magic because a lot of them are quite magical. So yeah, start my day that way. And yeah, meditating. Yeah, either meditate at the beach or like before bed, or I do journaling as well. And you can get these like books, like journals that have like prompts in them, which is really great because sometimes you can struggle to like bring, you know, everything to the paper, or, you know, like sometimes you might get like writer's block or whatever. But yeah, you can get different journals with just prompts in it where they just ask you questions. So you're like, you've got the prompt there, and then you're able to like, write what you want. Just remaining healthy and making sure I stay like true to myself with what I want to eat and put into my body.
Good.
Remaining eating a really good diet of whole foods. And
Good.
so I get in the sauna as well at the gym.
Saunas are for those out there, saunas are incredible.
Yeah, they've been a game changer as well because like you're getting the heat is so good for you and releasing the toxins from your body. And yeah, I gym about 3 to 4 times a week, just depending on what I've got going on.
We'll have a chat off air, Haylee, about some gyms up there. That was going to be a question. We'll have the chat off air about that. I need some recommendations on where I'm going to go soon.
Yeah, and it's so important. As well as just your mindset in general is like remaining in a really good mindset, because it doesn't matter if you do all those other things and, you know, you're going to the gym and eating healthy. If you don't have a positive mindset, or, you know, you're letting your mindset hold you back, you're not going to achieve what you want, because you're going to get up and be like, I don't feel like going to the gym and I don't feel like preparing food. So it's just so important to get your mindset right. And remain in a positive state. So
I like that. It's interesting too, because I often talk about too, you build those healthy habits. Like, you're not going to see results overnight. It's like the easy way out to just lay in bed and say, oh, it's too hot today, or it's too cold today, or it's too rainy, or whatever. Like, if you just get up, make it happen, and just get there, that's like a big thing. Like, be proud of yourself for actually getting there. And then do your workout, and you feel so much better having gone and done it. And then you walk out, you go, oh, and, you know, and then it gets easier from there as you go. It's like you're building that healthy habit. Like, you're out repping like eventually, like same as the gym with the workout, when you're getting your muscle, you want bigger muscles. Like, you're going to out rep and become bigger over time. It's the same thing. If you just keep showing up, doesn't matter how hot it is, how cold it is, what time it is, just show up. You'll eventually build that into your daily routine, and it gets easier from there. You'll just be a habit. You just get up and go, right, well, for me, it's 4 a.m. Let's go, you know? So it
absolutely
just,
agree.
and I know what it was like for you, but I know in my first couple of weeks, we'll delve into this now. In my first couple of weeks, it was bloody hard. It was freezing cold. It was, I had all my demons from when I was 16 wanting to do it for chicks. So it's like, you know, all those demons are coming up, and it's like, well, no, I'm doing it for the right reasons now. And, you know, my mind was playing tricks on me. It's like, oh, it's too cold today. Oh, I'm too tired today. For me, just showing up was enough. And then boom. What was that like for you? Was that ever a hard thing to, I guess, put into your daily routine? Like, how was adding that into your routine? Was it hard for you like it was for me?
I've always been someone who's been like, you know, active, and there was like a period where I didn't go to the gym, but I've always been someone who's like played sport, or, you know, like at least been active, like going for walks and stuff. So it's not hard, but it's like just making, you know, doing it for like you said, doing it for the right reasons, which is yourself. It should always be yourself, not to impress anybody, or not to like take, you know, your Instagram picture or whatever. It's like for yourself and for your own health and your own well-being as well. And you feel so amazing after a workout, and it's just keeping that promise to yourself, and, you know, knowing that you're doing that for yourself, like your self-worth. Like, you're going to feel good and you're going to look good as well. I mean, it's not always about that, but, you know, like when you look good, obviously you feel good too. So yeah, it's just like looking after yourself and treating yourself like the queen or king that you are. So yeah, it's like if you think of it this way, it's like having a job basically, and if you don't show up for your job, you get fired. So like if you think of it that way, you're having like you're going to the gym for yourself. Yeah, or like it's like you're having a meeting with yourself, like you're just showing up for yourself. So yeah, that's important. And yeah, I really enjoy my time at the gym, or yeah, even if it's like getting outside to go for a walk or a hike. Just yeah, you feel so much better at the end of it, and you feel proud of yourself as well. So yeah.
You do, and people want to have that perfect body, and this might be another good segue into the women's stuff. Like they want to have that perfect body they see on social media, the big ass and the big breasts and the all sorts of weird things we see on social media these days, given the way the world is. It's like women want to be like these people, but I guess it's like a fakeness. None of their bodies are real. Like there's plastic in the boobs, there's plastic in their asses or whatever else is in there. It's like plastic on the lips. Like it's just this sexualization of women is a big one, and we're seeing that on social media. It's like, what would be your advice to those women that want to be like the Kardashians, for example? Like, stay true to yourself would be first step, I would have thought, Haylee.
Yeah. So just like staying true to yourself and knowing that you're you're beautiful just as you are. And
It's such a throwaway line though, but it's so true.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's like kind of like a bumper sticker, but yeah, it is so true. Like, just being content with who you are. And like, I'm not saying like you can't like go out and get things done, because like, most people do these days, and there's so much out there that you can get done, but it's just like knowing like you're fine without them, and you don't need to compare yourself to other people.
Correct.
And I think that's the biggest thing, like with social media, is it's becomes like this like place where, we went from like posting our dinner, like a picture of our dinner all the time, to like, every day there's like, yeah, I know there's like people, people wearing next to nothing on there, and
Literally.
And everyone's trying to, it feels like a lot of the time, like they're trying to show each other up off, or like they're trying to show themselves off, or, like they're trying to get validation. And it's like, you don't need other people to validate you. Like when you love yourself and you're true to yourself, you don't need outside validation. And I saw a quote not long ago, and it said, if your only source of validation comes from the outside, you're going to be starving for the rest of your life. And that's what I see, which is sad, is like a lot of these people that post every single day, and they're, posting photos of their bums and things like that. Or, like the gym poses where like they're taking a photo in the mirror at the gym, and, they're doing a pose that makes their bum look bigger, or, whatever they want to do. It's like they're starving for validation because they're not getting the validation within. And I think once you get your validation from me, you don't need to do like.
But this is like the big thing, Haylee. It's how do you get to a point where you can get that validation from yourself? Because there'd be women in here listening going, how? Let's give the people the how.
I think the biggest thing is like getting to know yourself. Like when even if you turn your social media off for a day and you just don't look at it, and
that's actually that's an underrated thing to do, isn't it?
It is so underrated, because like sometimes you'll be scrolling and you're just like, why am I even on here? Or like you tell yourself, oh, I'm not going to do that today, and then you'll find yourself on there for hours, whatever.
But then you're wasting that time. So how could you better use that time?
Yeah, definitely like limiting your social media, whether you even like you can get like locks on your phone where it locks you out of your social media. So that's one thing. But yeah,
I know something that's worked for me, Haylee, for some men. It's like if I go for a walk or I do something physical, like even go to the gym, I'll leave my phone in the car.
Yeah.
Sometimes I won't even take my phone with me.
Yeah, that's so important.
If I want to connect with nature, like, you're not going to connect with nature with a phone in your pocket. Like, we can delve into all the stuff that the phone in the pocket causes, but that's another podcast in itself. It's like you you don't need your phone on you all the time. You don't need to be attached to these things. Go and just immerse yourself in the beauty of nature or the ocean or
Yeah,
something else
absolutely.
to I'll let
Yeah,
you take the floor now.
absolutely. I think being out in nature is like so important. And, when you're out on a hike or like you're enjoying the beach, whatever, you don't feel like you need to be on your phone all the time because you're like in this most like magical place and you're one with nature. So that's so important is like spending time in nature. 'Cause it can teach you so much. Like when I'm at the beach in the morning and there's pretty much nobody else around and it's just me and my dog and the sunrise, like it's just honestly like greatest feeling. And yeah, you got like the nice cool air on your face and definitely a really good way to start your day. But yeah, just people just need to learn to love themselves and trust their own judgment and spend time with
How
yourself.
did how did you learn? How did you learn? I reckon it's an art and a skill. How did you learn the art of loving yourself, Haylee?
I think from my experiences, because most of us have a past and
We do. We all have a story.
things that have happened. So yeah, just like going through an experience and realizing that I didn't treat myself the best and I allowed certain things to happen to me. So because I've already been through that, I know now what I will and won't tolerate, and I love myself now
It's
because
like
of
you gain that awareness of what you want.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, just knowing that like I'm an amazing person, and I treat everybody kind, and
Do you have your core values that you stand by?
yeah,
And if someone was to interfere with those or not abide by them that you've set, it's like, see you later, isn't it?
yeah. So definitely have learnt that over the past few years, and yeah, you just get to a point where you love yourself because you've already been through situations, or like you've been in the darkness so that you know the light. And like I choose to live in the light now. I don't live in the darkness or welcome dark behavior into my life. So yeah, just I've spent a lot of time alone getting to know myself, and spending another important thing is spending time around the right people, because like you can spend time around like people like friends or family that all they do is complain, and nothing's ever going right. And um the people I'm talking about, because the moment you're with them you just feel drained.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're like always complaining, or life's crap and the world's ending, and they're always drinking and they're always partying, and then they whinge that they have no money or they're eating junk food, and it's like
They
that's the
can't
thing
work out why they're sick.
you don't want to spend your time around like people like that, especially not if you want to elevate your life. And
Yeah.
when you love yourself, you don't spend time around the wrong people, because you love yourself enough and you have boundaries, and you don't want to be around people that bring you down. So that's just another important thing, is like knowing who to give your time to. But yeah, like since spending time around the right people, like my life has definitely improved. And yeah, I've got so many like inspiring people such as yourself
No, thank
around
you.
me and in my corner. So yeah, just being around the right people is definitely important for your self-worth too. So
And it's being around those people that see your potential.
yeah.
I know for me, I had some mentors in my life during my stuff that they saw my potential, and because they saw that in me, I was able to see it within
In
myself.
yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
A big
because
one.
yeah. Um, yeah, so as I said before, when I lost like a lot of friends from speaking up, I actually met a whole new friend group that are on the same page as me, and they've become like family to me. So yeah, it's like so important to spend time around the right people because, yeah, they encourage me so much in my life. And, you know, they're always there for me, but they're always there to call me out if I'm not making like a good decision for myself. So yeah, they hold me to account as well, which is good.
I'm going to hold you account soon, Haylee, with the habit you've got going on at the moment. I'm looking forward to cutting that out of your life. I had to throw that in there.
I know it's not always great to like be showing your shadow, but you know,
I've been waiting for the moment that you would. You gave me a little slide in. I'm looking forward to it.
It's absolutely necessary for people to hold you to account because that's the only way you improve your life.
For those out there, Haley's going to quit coffee, and we're going to sort that out in the next few weeks.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I had to throw it in there, Haylee. I took my opportunity. I'm sorry.
Hey, well, at least it's cool because I know that I will do it because I walked away from, I drank alcohol most of my life, up until 10 months ago. So
yeah, we'll delve into that.
Yeah. So
how big was that for you to walk away from? Because I'm sure all your friends, like my old friends, they're all drinking and stuff. How was that for you to just say, oh, look, no thanks?
Yeah, it's been a massive change in my life and something I'm really proud of because obviously it's a big thing in society to like everybody goes out and drinks and everyone parties, and then when you say I don't do those things, you become like the weird person, or like you're
it's like how do you spend your time?
I know they're like they're like, what do you do for fun? It's like it's so bad that society has glorified drinking as a way of being fun. Like it's like literally
but also connection.
Yeah, and it's like if you don't drink poison like the rest of us, you're not fun. And it's like, well, I'd rather not continue to poison my brain, even though I've done that, for most of my life. Like I started drinking when, like, I think I had my first drink at like 16, which is so young, like, and then that's just what society does. So like glorifies like teen drinking, and then,
it's in all the movies too.
In the movies, like we're programmed all our life to do that. And when you're 18, you have this big celebration and everyone gets drunk and does shots, and then 21, and then it's just a never ending cycle. And I just like in the end I wasn't like a massive drinker in the end, but like I could sit at home and polish a bottle of wine in a night if I wanted to, like, and there's quite a few drinks in a bottle of wine. And I just got over like, I would drink. If I did go out, I would drink to all hours and not know my limits. And, it would be such a big night where I've wasted so much money and spent it on energy, spent it on just, and like not remember the night as well, which is just ridiculous. And then you make bad choices in terms of eating, like you just eat whatever, junk food's available, and spending money on Ubers and things like that. And then you're got a hangover for 3 days. So it's like, why would I continue poisoning myself and feeling like crap when I can just not do it anymore and feel good about myself and my life?
And you're wasting those Sundays and wasting that time spent on the couch when you could be catching a sunset now or a sunrise now.
Yeah. So I just got over it. I think the last straw for me was I started drinking when I moved here to I started drinking a bit more when I moved to the Sunshine Coast, because I was like in a new environment. I was like, oh, this is really cool being near the beach and, living in a new like area and house, and going through a bit of a stressful situation after the move as well, like in my living situation. So I felt like to cope with that, I would crack a drink after work, and that became like my coping mechanism. So I just started to like pick up on that and like call myself out, and didn't like where it was heading. And then it was just like a random Friday night, and we went down to like the food market and had a couple of friends over, and I was like tired. So like I'd been working all day and I was tired, and I had some drinks at home and I had gone through them. And then I was like, oh, I feel like I need an espresso martini to wake myself up. So it's like I made the decision to go and get an espresso martini, which I'd already been drinking, and then just to wake myself up. So yeah, I just felt like I didn't like where I was heading with like that decision. So yeah, I just told my friends like I'm gonna stop drinking, and I told, you know, my family, and I've made the decision to stop drinking, and you know, I really want you to like all hold me to account, and you know, like encourage me to follow this path. So yeah, I have a friend who's actually a hypnotherapist, and I said to him, I'm like, I reckon you're gonna have to like do a session on me to stop my drinking, and he never did it because I've stuck to my word. So yeah, I definitely don't look at alcohol the same anymore, and I'm so proud of my decision, and I'm like firm and strong on it. So yeah, and it's
You didn't
actually
need the hypnotherapist. You found it all within yourself, and that's the
yeah.
power of that.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of like yeah, your mind is so powerful. Like you will do and believe whatever you tell it. So
Yep. The feed it
yeah,
and tell it good things.
yeah, when you do good things and feed your mind good things come. So
They do.
another I will give people a bit of advice is like you can still go to events without drinking. Like if I go out, I just have like mocktails, and they actually have like non-alcoholic beers and wines and things that you can still enjoy if you know, feel that you want to. I wouldn't say fit in because you don't need to do anything to fit in, but you know, if you feel like
Down
you want
about
to,
fitting in on the Breaking Free podcast.
yeah, it's more like if you want to enjoy a nice beverage and you just want to sit around like the campfire and have a wine. I still do that every now and again, but it's just non-alcoholic wine. So there's always that option as well. So
Yeah, or you can have a kombucha or a nice glass of cold water out of the filtered water tap or something, you know. There's
hey,
always
I still like red grape juice. Leave me alone.
there's always healthier alternatives
Yeah, for
that you
sure.
can replace with. And I guess that goes back to what you were saying. It's like, well, if they can't see your growth and recognize your growth, and they're going to try and pressure you into having a drink and having this and doing that, well, then that's where you come to the realization, or the question you ask yourself is, are these people serving me being my best self, or are they unfortunately serving me to be my worst self? And then that's the big question that people need to ask themselves when they want to embark on this journey. It could be alcohol, vaping, smoking, porn, OnlyFans, could be anything really. It's like if they're not supporting me on my journey and they're going to encourage me to still dabble in this stuff, then it's like, well, are they part of my next phase? And sometimes that's just the cut you make, isn't it, Haylee?
Yeah, yeah. I've yeah, definitely since not drinking, like my phone's been quiet, obviously.
Yeah, you work out who your friends are, don't
Yes.
you?
But it's not the first time that I actually did quit drinking. So when I was about 22, I did quit drinking as
Yeah,
well.
I did it at 22 as well. I lasted 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and I was back out again doing
Oh,
it 2 weeks
I
prior.
stopped drinking for 2 whole years, and that's
Did
when I
ya?
went on my yeah, that's when I went on my health journey and started eating healthy,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, then I ended up in my other situation, so
Yeah.
then it kind of made me go down that path.
That other situation's going to inspire hundreds of women whenever you're ready to share that, Haylee.
You want me to now?
If you're happy to share it,
Alrighty.
share it. Because if you're a young woman right now and you've just skipped to this part of the podcast, I suggest listening, because I'm about to mute my microphone. 3, 2, 1, Haylee, let's go.
So a big part of my healing journey or awakening journey has also come from being in an abusive relationship for 5 years. So yeah, I was had a partner for 5 years, and it started out really well, and you know, I thought like this is a fairy tale, like we knew each other from you know, our childhood and that sort of thing, and then we reconnected as adults. And that's one thing about, you know, these movies and like fairy tales and whatnot, is they kind of teach you they send you the wrong message in terms of like relationships or, you know, friendships and things, because it's not always fate that brings people together. So yeah, just meeting up with this person, I thought that yeah, that person was supposed to be in my life, and it was fate. And that sort of thing. So yeah, it started out well, and then over time it just got started to go into like emotional and mental abuse. And it didn't matter what I did or said, like it just it was kind of like how to explain, it's like a reward and risk system that these people get you into, and like they're nice to you, and then there'll be a time period where they're nasty to you, and then it's just like constant cycle of nasty and like nice behavior. So you get into this like cycle of like tiptoeing around the person and not ever knowing if you're doing the right thing, and if that anything you say or do is going to set them off. And so just like put up with all this like constant cycle of abuse for a long time. And I didn't feel like safe, or I didn't feel like I was worth anything during that time. And I definitely didn't feel like I had it in me to leave this person, just because the way like I let them break me down to that point. So over time, after the abuse was mental and emotional, it then later became physical. I suffered physical abuse for a long time as well. And the same cycle was continuing on with the physical abuse. So I didn't actually know, like I thought that I was triggering that person to do these things to me. And it took me 5 years, of accepting that, to finally get to the end of like my tether with it, and realize that me staying in the situation was not it was my own fault, and I let that person break me down to a point where I didn't have any self-worth, and I didn't like love myself enough to know that I deserve better than that. So I stayed in the situation, and then finally had the strength to, just there was like one last situation where it became physical, and I just thought, I'm not like, this is not where my life, like this is not where I want my life to be. And I deserve better than putting up with this for the rest of my life. So I just got about like had this like sudden burst of like power, and like seeing my life being different, and not living in darkness and basically living in hell. I just packed up everything that I owned, and I moved to Queensland. So it's like not putting yourself in situations or like knowing that you deserve so much better than abuse of any kind. And it might not always be physical. Like a lot of people think that abusive relationships, when you hear that word, it is like somebody's physically beating you. But a lot of these relationships don't start out as physical abuse. They start out like mentally and emotionally. I just want people to know that you don't have to tolerate any kind of abuse, and that can be whether that's your romantic partner, family, or friends. And even in your job, you don't deserve to be abused. So my message is just wanting to encourage people to not accept less than they deserve, and to know and love themselves enough to walk away if you're not getting that. So
Thank you for sharing that, Haylee.
it's okay.
I guess for you, how did you? I guess did it just get to a point where you just said, "Look, enough's enough. I need to make a break here," or did you ask for help? I know. Did you? What sort of was did you ask for help and then just move away? Like, how did that all come about? Was help a big thing for you to ask for?
I think for me, like being in the situation and like because many people had tried to open my eyes about the situation for, a very long time. And then, people even had like turned their back on me because,
Oh wow.
they had been trying and then obviously I didn't want to accept what was happening or, I didn't want to see, I wasn't ready to face the truth, I guess. And so they were sick of trying and then, they walked away. So, I was basically left with like really close friends or like just my family and, they would always be there for me, which, I'm very thankful for that because it's not always easy to watch, the people that you love being in a bad situation and remaining in it. But it's also hard for people who've not been in a situation like that to understand. Because I mean, before I went through it, I wouldn't have understood it either. And it takes being in it to understand it and why, because people always say, why didn't you leave? And things like that. But until you're in the situation, it's really hard to understand. So yeah, I'm like so compassionate about people that are in abusive situations because I understand it now, being gone through it myself. Yeah, so it was just after the last like straw and realizing like this is my life and this is going to be my life if I don't do something about it. And I guess I don't know, just after a long time of like accepting that kind of behavior in your life, you just get so over it and you get to a point where you're just so tired and you're kind of like in flight or fight mode. So yeah, you just get to a point where you're like, if I don't do something right now, then like in 10 years time this is going to be my life. So I think it's like I'm really proud of my decision because most people stay in these situations for their whole life and it's always a bad outcome whether they end up like a lot of people can end up like losing their life or you have a child with this person and then that child's life is messed up and yeah, so I feel quite lucky that my like story in that situation ended the way it did and I kind of just like escaped in a way and just like let it fizzle itself out. So then there was never anything for them to go off and be, like come back at me for or whatever. So kind of just made a clean break away from it. And yeah, started working on my healing journey. So yeah, it's been an experience. So
Well, good on you for taking the courage and getting out of that situation. It's gonna hopefully there's some young women listening to this right now that are finding something within themselves to, I guess, make that break. So thank you for sharing that.
just wanting to inspire people to get out of situations that aren't serving them. So yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some women listening right now and even some men that are in some sticky situations, and hopefully from listening to you today that they can find that light from within to go on a path of self-healing, self-discovery as well. Yeah. Anything else you're willing to share, Haylee, today before we wrap things up from your journey?
I don't. I think
Actually, if there's advice, you may have already said it. There's advice for a young woman right now that's going through what you're going through. Oh no, what you've been through. Sorry, that's going through what you've been through. What would be your advice to that woman now to take that first step towards their journey?
just knowing that like you deserve like the absolute best in your life, and you don't deserve anybody treating you poorly or abusing you in any kind of way. Doesn't like it can be anywhere from financial abuse, emotional, mental, spiritual, sexual, or physical, whatever. There can be so many types of abuse. But yeah, you don't deserve to be treated that way. And just to like know that there's help out there and there's light and healing on the other side of it. And once you break away, like, it's going to be the best, like, decision that you ever made, because what's on the other side of your healing journey is just like yourself, basically, and that's the best thing you can find in your life. So
that's a good piece of advice. Thanks for being an awesome guest today, Haylee. Thank you for sharing all that you shared today. I really appreciate you sharing that on my podcast, and hopefully some people listening here can feel inspired to break free from their situations that they find themselves in, and know that there's a version then that exists in the future that has already broken free, and that's that light. It's your light. It's always been you, and you're the one holding your own hand through the journey. And my piece of advice too, Haylee, what I've said a few times is that if you want to love yourself, then you're with yourself the whole time. You're like, the only person that you're with 24/7 is you. So you need to learn how to love you and be you, because you are all you have.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me on today.
No worries, Haylee. We've had an awesome chat off air and an even better one on air. So thank you for jumping on. This has been the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis. I've got some awesome guests coming up in the next few weeks. I'll get Haylee back on for another women's roundtable, and probably for another chat. We can delve more into some topics that we've discussed today to help some more young women in the future as well. So I look forward to working with you in the future, Haylee. We've got some good things coming. Thank you for listening and watching wherever in the world you are, and I'll see you guys again real soon. So thank you and goodbye.